Good evening and welcome. You're watching the news. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Let's quickly dive into what's making headlines on the 24th of March. India confirms that novel variant of coronavirus, new double mutant, has been found in the country. Apart from that, several other mutations as well. The India strain, over 200 such cases in Maharashtra, 20% in Nagpur samples. And now the R factor, highest in for the worst hit countries. 275 deaths contributing to that in the past 24 hours. The most this year, Gujarat cases hit a new daily high. And the fallout of that? Well, Delhi, Haryana, Mumbai have barred public Holi celebration centre taking a cue. Now ask several other states to follow cue and ensure there is no festival pandemic spread. Shocker coming in from Kerala. Nuns forced out of train in Uttar Pradesh by ABVP. In Kerala, Shah promises action after Chief Minister protests. NV Ramana all set to be the next Chief Justice of India. The recommendation is gone from the sitting Chief Justice Bobde. The top court has dismissed, meanwhile, a complaint against him. DHFL in the eye of another storm. The DHFL director scammed the PM Housing Fund, says the CBI. Over 1,800 crore government subsidies were sent out to fake accounts. Also, Amir Khan tests positive for COVID. On a day, Salman Khan goes to get his first shot of the vaccine. And let's not forget, 1 year on of the lockdown, many migrants still trying to rebuild lives. NDTV revisits them today. Story that deserves all our attention tonight: the constantly escalating COVID cases in the country. We will get to the numbers in just a bit, but the headline today is the influx of several new variants that are coming in the country. We knew about the UK super spreader strain, the South African strain, and also the Brazil strain. But the new indigenous India strain, which is a double mutation, has got scientists thinking. Here's why.
After weeks of speculation, the government has today confirmed an Indian strain of the coronavirus identified with as a double mutant. Maharashtra has the highest, over 200 cases, 9 in Delhi, 3 in Punjab and 1 each in Jammu, Ladakh and Odisha.
कोई भी लिंकेज ऐसा एस्टैब्लिश नहीं कर पाए हम जिसमें कि हम ये कहें कि ये सर्ज जो हमें विभिन्न शहरों में देखने को मिल रही है, इसका कारण डायरेक्टली सिर्फ म्यूटेशन है.
Health officials say these two mutations in the strain identified in India confer immune escape and increased infectivity. There is a possibility of reinfections.
According to the Health Ministry, such mutations confer increased infectivity and immune escape, which means that the new strain of virus can be more infectious. However, the government also maintains that the strategy to fight COVID and the vaccinations that are available in India are adequate, not just to fight the older variant, but the mutated one as well.
So when we talk of the double mutant, for example, that you mentioned, that is E484Q and L452R, there are two mutations where two residues have changed. In the genetic sequence, two residues have been mutated into another type of a residue.
Apart from this strain, the government also released a breakup of the 771 cases of the UK, South Africa and Brazil strain. These have been found in as many as 18 states and union territories, the most being the UK strain, of which 336 are in Punjab alone. The sole case of the Brazil strain has been found in Maharashtra.
टेस्ट करिए, जहां टेस्ट कम हो रहे हैं, टेस्ट पॉजिटिविटी बढ़ रही है, उसको हमें ठीक करना है और हमारे पास टेस्ट बनाने की कोई कमी नहीं है.
The experts believe that mutation in viruses is a natural phenomenon, and when viruses replicate, they do mutate. The only way to stop mutation is to stop the virus, and that can only happen by maintaining COVID appropriate behavior, by wearing masks and by getting vaccination when our turn comes. With camera person Mohammad Mursaleen, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
All right, so that's an overall view. Let's talk about numbers now. With the daily number of cases going and crossing about 45,000 for the first time in almost 4.5 months, the second wave is now clearly turning out to be much steeper than the first one. But look at this graph over here. It's a 7-day average for you. You look at the peak here this time in September, how this went up. And now from here you see the peak again rising this time around. Let's look at the next graphic to actually talk about that peak for you. Now, the biggest ever jump in weekly active cases, that is what we are witnessing at this point. Now, you see this peak where around May to June we peaked up, then we got back again. Then in September, we saw the highest ever numbers. And then we saw a massive decline as well. But now, this entire peak that you see over here right now, 57%. Now, this jump is said to be something that we haven't witnessed so far, and that's the reason for real worry. This is the jump highest ever it has really been in the country. Let's look at the next graphic to give you also a picture of where is the India story on COVID really moving, and we keep coming back to this R factor. The R factor, remember, which is the reproductive factor, which means this is the rate at which the virus is spreading to other people. Well, that factor, if you see, India is now leading the world on that. You look at this line, the pink line over here that starts in here. India at the moment much above 1% at this point. It's left behind USA, Russia, Brazil and even France. So, well, that is, of course, a reason to worry. But while we talk about the R factor, which explains to you the number of cases increasing, what about the deaths? Well, in Mumbai at this point, the biggest spike in cases is being seen, and for reasons no one can really put a finger on, deaths are also on the high and on the rise. Now, complaints of bed scarcity are again coming up. In fact, some of the districts in Maharashtra are seeing a similar COVID situation as of last year. The number of COVID deaths in Maharashtra in the past 24 hours has also shown a jump of 127%. Bid district has been completely under lockdown. Here's a report telling you more.
9 of India's top 10 districts with most active COVID cases are in Maharashtra, and the state's health infrastructure is once again struggling to cope. Relatives of COVID patients outside this government hospital in Maharashtra's Nashik, a district that has seen a massive rise in COVID cases in the last 2 weeks, say it has been a struggle to get beds at COVID wards.
नासिक शहर में किधर बेड नहीं मिल रहा है। नासिक शहर के जिला रुग्णालय में यहाँ पे अतिशय भयानक परिस्थिति है। यहाँ का एक पण बेड रिकामा नहीं है। आज हमने हमारे रिलेटिव को यहाँ लेके आए थे। यहाँ बेड की उपलब्धता नहीं है और जल्दी से जल्दी शासन ने इस पे ध्यान देना चाहिए और बेड उपलब्ध करना चाहिए।
A rerun too of viral videos like these shot recently inside COVID wards at hospitals in Nashik and Aurangabad.
मला खूप शुगर आहे, माझ्या छातीत खूप दुखतंय, मला ऍडमिट करून घ्या. तर ते लोक मला म्हणे एकही बेड खाली नाहीये, तुम्ही होम क्वारंटाईन व्हा आणि घरातच हे करा. तर मी म्हटलं माझं घर खूप छोटं आहे, माझे लहान लहान लेकरं आहे, मी घरात कशी क्वारंटाईन होऊ, मला तुम्ही इथे ऍडमिट करून घ्या. तर ते मला म्हटले एकही बेड खाली नाहीये. तर मी त्यांना इतके हातपाय जोडले, इतकं म्हणजे खूप रिक्वेस्ट केली, विनंती केली की मला ऍडमिट करून घ्या. तुम्हीच बघा तुमच्या स्वतःच्या डोळ्यांनी बघा हे कसं खाली आहे, सगळे रूम सगळे कॉट खाली आहे. हे भ्रष्ट डॉक्टर आणि भ्रष्ट सरकार.
Maharashtra reported 132 deaths in a 24-hour period between Monday and Tuesday, the highest number of daily deaths since the 20th of November last year. More than 3,000 new cases have been reported daily in Mumbai for 3 consecutive days, although deaths have remained 10 or less.
शहरामध्ये वाढत्या रुग्णसंख्येला वैद्यकीय सुविधा मिळण्यासाठी आपण तयारी सुरू केलेली आहे. त्यामध्ये मेरीचं CCC सेंटर सुरू करायचं, ठक्करडोमचं सुरू करायचं.
The latest lockdown in Maharashtra is in the district of Bid that will be totally shut between the 26th of March and the 4th of April. The state's battle with COVID is far from any resolution. With Pooja Bharadwaj in Mumbai, Anusaya Mathur for NDTV.
So with number of cases going up, number of deaths going up as well, what can be done at this point? Well, most importantly, curbs are set to return. Not lockdown yet, but curbs. Centre has already advised local restrictions on upcoming festivals and has called for strict adherence to COVID precaution in a letter to states and the union territories as well. The letter said that consider imposing local restrictions. On what kind of restrictions, if you ask? Well, the letter goes on to say to limit or to do away completely with public gatherings. Now remember, Delhi, Haryana, Mumbai have already barred public celebrations of Holi. Will other states follow, especially the poll-bound ones? Well, that's something we wait to see. Moving on now, 2 nuns and their 2 under-training colleagues were heckled and forced to get off a train in Uttar Pradesh's Jhansi by members of ABVP, the student wing of RSS, the ideological mentor of the BJP. Now, they accused the nuns of trying to convert the other 2 women. All this based on a mere suspicion, a suspicion that turned out to be a nightmare for these women. It forced them to prove their innocence and even deboard a train at night. The impact felt in Kerala, where the Chief Minister and opposition leaders have already written letters to the Prime Minister and Amit Shah. Amit Shah even promised action, but none seen so far.
आपको भिजवा दिया जाएगा, ऐसी बात नहीं है, आप चिंता मत करिए। हाँ, अगर आप सही हैं, अगर सही है तो आपको भिजवा दिया जाएगा। अरे बाहर चलो। नेतागिरी कर रहे हैं। अरे नेतागिरी करते तो अभी तक पता कैसे चलता? हो गया, चलो। जल्दी आ रहा है मैडम, जल्दी आओ, ये गाड़ी छूट जाएगी। बारो, जल्दी बारो। फोटो के अंदर है। अरे फोटो वीडियो बना रहे हैं।
Outrage after 2 nuns from the Kerala-based Syro Malabar Church and their 2 trainees who are from Orissa were heckled, harassed and forced to get off a train last Friday in Uttar Pradesh's Jhansi by these goons who the railway police say are from the ABVP, the student wing of the RSS. Though the police had intervened on the complaint of the attackers, none of them have been arrested till this evening after their complaint was found to be false.
अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के लोगों ने ये कहा कि इनको उतार कर पूरी जांच की जाए और ये 2 युवतियां, ये संबंधित 2 युवतियों का धन परिवर्तन करा रही हैं, इसकी पूरी जांच की जाए। उनकी जांच की गई, उनके सर्टिफिकेट की जांच की गई, तो दोनों लड़कियों के पास से बैप्टिज्म सर्टिफिकेट मिला जो 2003 का था।
Amid anger over the incident, with both the ruling and main opposition party in Kerala protesting in the middle of their election campaign, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan wrote to Home Minister Amit Shah, saying such incidents tarnish the image of the nation and its ancient tradition of religious tolerance. Such incidents require utmost condemnation by the union government. Mr. Shah, who was in Kerala campaigning, promised action by the BJP government in UP.
जो भी आरोपी है, जिन्होंने भी ये किया है, उनको कानून के हवाले जल्द से जल्द करने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार करेगी।
उत्तर प्रदेश is wearing a dress which is a religious dress, and he can move. He can travel across the India with full freedom. Then all the other religious people who wear their religious dress should have the same freedom to travel.
But no answers so far about how the attackers could get away for so many days after taking the law in their hands. With Vinod Gautam in Jhansi and Sneha Mary Koshi in Thiruvananthapuram, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Let's move on to the battleground states now, and we begin with West Bengal, where scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and OBCs have taken centre state this election. Now, why is that? Because the state has about 84 reserved SC/ST seats in all, and in the first phase, almost all of the 30 seats are going to polls. All on Saturday, remember, in the Jungle Mahal region. In 2019, BJP had made inroads in this area to win about 18 Lok Sabha seats. Has BJP had been able to hang on to that advantage, or has Trinamool Congress been managing to do a ghar wapasi of sorts? Monitiba Banerjee found out.
The superstar of Santhali cinema is now fighting a real-life battle. for her community, the Adivasis of Bengal's Jungle Mahal. Daughter of Adivasi leaders of Jharkhand Naren Party, Bir Baha Hasda is TMC candidate from Jhargram. She wants Adivasis to stand up and fight the BJP, which she sees as a threat.
कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि संथाल या ST SC के लिए बीजेपी सेफ नहीं है। बीजेपी हम लोगों को बेदखल करेगा क्योंकि सबके पास जमीन का कागज नहीं है, सबके पास हाँ खतरे में है। बीजेपी आएगा तो आदिवासी धर्म को खतरे में होगा, ये तो सबको पता है क्योंकि वो लोग हिंदू के सिवा कुछ नहीं सोचता है।
It is a charge her BJP opponent at Jhargram, Sukhmoy Satpathy, denies. It was Atal Bihari Vajpayee who gave Adivasis a state of their own, Jharkhand, he says, and accuses TMC of dividing people to rule over Bengal.
उनका काम ही यही है, लोगों में भाग बंटवारा करना। ट्राइबल लोगों के लिए, आदिवासी के लिए तो वाजपेयी जी का जिस टाइम में सरकार था, झारखंड डिमांड था, झारखंड राज्य दे दिया। तो ट्राइबल लोग, आदिवासी लोग सब जानते हैं कौन कैसा है।
Both adversaries are playing the SC/ST card. Bengal's SC/ST population is 30%, bigger than its 27% minority population. The BJP had wooed SC/ST votes in 2019 to win 18 seats in Lok Sabha. Of the 30 assembly seats polling Saturday, TMC had won 26 in 2016, but in 2019, BJP led in 20. Villagers are divided. Some say it was a mistake to vote for BJP in 2019. Others say never TMC.
যে ভুলটা করেছি বিধানসভায় পুনরায় সেই ভুল আর হবে না। উনি সে ভুল বলতে বিজেপি 15 লক্ষ টাকা দেবে বলে সবাইকে লোভ দেখিয়েছিল, আর ওইটার জন্য সবাই ভোট দিয়েছিল।
প্রায় 5 লক্ষ টাকা মতো পুরো গ্রামের মানুষ পাবে না।
কে দেয়নি? কোন পঞ্চায়েত?
তখন ওই টিএমসির পঞ্চায়েত ছিল। তোমাদের টাকা এখনো পর্যন্ত আসেনি। আজ 4-5 বছর হয়ে গেল, কিন্তু এখনো পর্যন্ত কোনো আর গুলার হদিস না। পঞ্চায়েত পাল্টে গেছে আর ওরা কোনো গুরুত্বই দিল না।
In recent days, both Mamata Banerjee and top BJP leaders like Mr. JP Nadda have been promising to enlist several communities as OBCs or SCs or STs or whatever they want. Every vote will count, and how they cast it in the first phase of polls for 30 seats will be crucial. Every vote will count, and how they are cast in the first phase of polling for the first 30 seats will be crucial. With Judy Shankar, Monadeepa Banerjee, NDTV.
In other big news of the day, Chief Justice of India S.A. Bobde has recommended Justice NV Ramana as his successor after he retires next month. Now, Justice NV Ramana is the most senior judge in Supreme Court after Justice Bobde, and he is likely to take oath as the 48th Chief Justice of India. That will happen on the 24th of April. His tenure expected to be about 16 months or so. Though all of this is happening under protocol, there was a suspense this time around as there was a complaint against Justice Ramana by the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy. Reddy accused him of interfering in the administration of justice, allegedly favouring the Telugu Desam party in the state. Now, hours after that recommendation, the apex court issued a statement stating that the complaint has been dismissed. All right, moving on to the other big news of the day. CBI has now unearthed a scam in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. They have registered a corruption and cheating case against the DHFL. Directors over there, the Wadhawan brothers. The directors are said to have scammed thousands of crores with fake home loan accounts. This is all according to CBI. Now, over 11,000 crore were routed through several fictitious firms, they say, and also adding that till December 2018, DHFL has processed over 88,000 home loan accounts under the scheme, availing over 1,800 crore as interest from the government. And today marks 1 year of the lockdown, 1 year of the most tragic, desperate and heart-wrenching migration that took place in the country. NDTV covered several of these stories, and a year on, we have not forgotten. The next story brings you what is life for all these migrants a year on.
Among the most tragic visuals of India's coronavirus lockdown, this toddler trying to wake his dead mother, 35-year-old Avrina Parveen, at a railway platform in Bihar's Muzaffarpur in May last year. Like lakhs of migrant workers desperate to get home, Avrina and her family had boarded a train from Gujarat's Surat to Bihar. But Miss Parveen collapsed from hunger, heat and suffocation inside the train compartment. A year on, the child, who is from Bihar's Katihar, has been adopted by an NGO. But his family says nothing else has changed for them.
नीतीश कुमार कुछ दिया?
कोई लाभ भी नहीं दिया, कोई जवाब भी प्रयास नहीं, कुछ नहीं किया, उसका कोई मदद नहीं मिला.
In March last year, 42-year-old Abdul Salam walked and hitched truck rides for 1300 kilometers from Gurugram in the national capital region all the way to Bihar's Katihar. A journey that took him 15 days. Mr. Salam returned to work in September. But it's not been the same for him and other migrant workers at this labour mandi.
आप लॉकडाउन में गए थे?
हाँ, लॉकडाउन में गए थे, पैदल गए थे, धक्के खा के गए थे, ट्रक में भैंसों की तरह भर के गए थे. अभी वापस आए हैं तो थोड़ा बहुत तो नॉर्मली ठीक हुआ था, लेकिन काम में स्थिति नहीं है, तो उसके वजह से दिक्कत होता है.
65-year-old Ram Bharose spends dawn to dusk at this labour mandi in Delhi's Lajpat Nagar labour chowk, sometimes with men and women half his age. All of his savings got exhausted last year in the lockdown, where there was no work and sometimes even nothing to eat. The senior citizen had gone back to his village in Rajasthan during the lockdown, but his children have refused to support him, and so he is back in the city.
काम नहीं मिल रहा सर, क्या काम नहीं मिल रहा. बैठ के चले जाते हैं, कोई 5-6 दिन में एक दिहाड़ी लग गया तो उससे क्या खर्चा चलाएं, क्या किराया दें, क्या करें.
पेट भर के खाना हो जाता है?
खाते हैं, चटनी रोटी खा लेते हैं, सब्जी नहीं है तो चटनी बना के रोटी खा लेते हैं.
If any person comes to give work, they all try to get that. The lockdown has impacted everyone's income, and that's why lesser houses are being constructed, leading to these labourers not getting work. In New Delhi with Manoj Thakur and Saurabh Shukla, Osama Shab for NDTV.